Have you ever had one of those days where you think, I don't understand why I'm so tired? I actually got enough sleep last night. You slept 7 or 8 hours, maybe even had a relatively quiet weekend. But by the middle of the afternoon, you're exhausted. Your concentration is dropping, you're reaching for another coffee, you're struggling to get motivated. And by the evening, you don't necessarily feel rested, you feel like you need to switch off. So you sit down, you open your phone, you scroll through social media, maybe you turn on the TV and watch Netflix or YouTube for an hour or two. And eventually you go to bed thinking, at least I got some rest. But what if the problem isn't that you're not getting enough rest? What if you're not getting enough recovery? Those two things sound like the same thing, but they're not. And understanding the difference can completely change the way you manage your energy, your focus, and ultimately the way you live your day. Rest is often defined as simply stopping an activity. You finish work, you sit down, you stop exercising, you lie down, you finish dealing with everyone else's problems, you get into bed. But stopping isn't necessarily recovery. Recovery is about changing your state. It's about giving your body and mind an opportunity to come down from the demands that are being placed on them and restore the capacity you need to engage again. And this is particularly important if you spend much of your day operating at a high level, because your brain and body have limited capacity. Every meeting, every decision, every problem, every deadline, every notification, every interruption, and every emotional interaction requires something from you. And if you keep drawing from that capacity without deliberately replenishing it, eventually you start operating on empty. You may still be functioning and may still be getting things done, but you're no longer operating at your best. You're operating from depletion. One of the biggest problems I see is that we have become very good at pushing through. We tell ourselves, I'll take a break when I finish this. I'll relax tonight. I'll catch up on the weekend. I just need to get through this weekend, and occasionally that's necessary. But when pushing through becomes your normal operating system, you create a cycle. You use your available energy to get through the next demand, then you use even more energy to get through the next one, and eventually you reach the end of the day with very little capacity left. Then you try to recover at night. But there is another problem. You're often not actually recovering then either. Think about what you normally do when you're tired. You may lie on the couch and scroll through Instagram or Facebook. You might check the news. You might watch another episode of a streaming show. You might jump between YouTube videos. And I'm not saying you can't enjoy these things. I enjoy them too. The issue is when we confuse entertainment and stimulation with recovery. You may have stopped working, but your brain hasn't necessarily stopped processing. You're still receiving information, you're still making choices, you're still responding to things, you're still looking at screens, you're still being exposed to other people's opinions, other people's lives, headlines, notifications, and an endless stream of information. Your body might be sitting on the couch, but your attention is still being pulled around. That's what I mean by false rest. It feels like you're resting because you're not doing your work, but you may not be creating the conditions for genuine recovery. And there's another version of this that is even more subtle. You finish work and immediately start consuming information. You eat dinner while watching television. You check your phone while watching television. You go to bed and scroll through your phone. Then you wonder why you can't completely switch off. The problem isn't necessarily that any one of those activities is harmful. It's that there may be no genuine digital free space in your day. One of the simplest changes you can make is to deliberately create periods where you are not consuming digital information. No phone, no laptop, no television, no notifications, no endless stream of content. Instead, walk, Sit outside, have a conversation, look out the window, make a coffee and actually drink it without looking at your phone, read a physical book, spend time with your family, listen to music without simultaneously scrolling, do something physical, or simply allow yourself to be still. The objective isn't to make every moment productive, quite the opposite. The objective is to give your brain and body some time where they don't have to continuously process, respond, and perform. And this is particularly important because many of us have lost the ability to be bored. The moment there is a gap, we fill it. We're waiting for the coffee, phone. Waiting for someone, phone. On the train, phone. Sitting on the couch, phone. Going to bed, phone. And we have created a world where our brain really gets a genuine opportunity to disengage. So if you're tired all the time, don't just ask, am I getting enough sleep? Also ask, am I ever truly switching off during the day? Here's another important shift. We tend to think of recovery as something that happens at night. We work all day, we push all day, we deal with stress all day, and then we expect 8 hours of sleep to fix everything. But high quality performance doesn't work that way. You need recovery checkpoints throughout the day. Think about an athlete. An athlete doesn't train for 6 hours continuously and then say, I'll recover when I go to bed tonight. Recovery is built into the training process. There are periods of effort, then there are periods of recovery, and then they go again. We need to think about our cognitive and emotional performance in a similar way, not because we're machines, but because we're biological systems. If you repeatedly ask yourself to focus, decide, create, solve problems, and manage pressure, you need deliberate opportunities to replenish your capacity. So let me give you 3 simple checkpoints you can start using today. These aren't complicated techniques, and I'm deliberately not giving you a long list of things you need to add to your life. The first is, or checkpoint number 1, is recovery after focus work. So if you've completed a significant period of concentrated work, don't automatically jump straight into the next demand. Create a transition. For example, if you've completed a 90-minute focus block, get away from your desk. Don't use the first minute of your break to check email. Don't replace your computer screen with your phone screen. Stand up, move, get some water, look into the distance, and take a few slower breaths. Let your attention move away from the task and give yourself a genuine transition between effort and the next set of effort. This doesn't have to take half an hour. Even 10 minutes can create a very different experience from simply moving from one screen to another. And when you're ready to return, take a moment to deliberately prepare yourself for the next block. The objective is simple. Don't carry the previous block into the next one. Finish, recover, then re-engage. Checkpoint 2, create a digital-free period. The second checkpoint is even simpler. Choose one period during your day where you deliberately disconnect from all digital devices. So maybe it's your lunch, maybe it's the first 20 minutes when you get home, maybe it's the half hour before bed. Start with just 20 or 30 minutes. Put the phone somewhere you can't automatically reach for it. Turn off the television and give your attention somewhere else. This is not about being anti-technology. Technology is obviously very useful, otherwise I wouldn't be using it today to talk to you. The issue is whether you control your attention or your attention is continuously being captured. If your brain is receiving a new piece of information every few seconds throughout the day, don't be surprised if you feel mentally exhausted by the end of the day. So you need to create some space. Checkpoint number 3, recover before you are empty. And the third checkpoint may be the most important. Don't wait until you're completely exhausted before you recover. Most of us treat recovery as an emergency response. We're exhausted, so we stop. We're overwhelmed, so we take a break. We're completely depleted, so we finally go to bed. Instead, start thinking about recovery proactively. Ask yourself during the day, how is my capacity right now? Not just how much work have I completed, but how much capacity do I have left? That's a very different question because productivity isn't simply about how much you can squeeze out of yourself. It's about managing your capacity so you can continue to perform, engage, and live well. And this is where this idea connects to something much bigger for me. At Legend Life, we talk about the importance of living deliberately. Your life isn't created by the big things you occasionally do, it's created by how you live your ordinary days. And your day has different demands. You need periods of focus, you need periods of movement, you need periods of connection, you need periods of recovery. You need periods where you are fully engaged in your life rather than simply consuming information. That's one of the reasons I'm increasingly interested in the idea of a legend day. A legend day isn't about creating the perfect schedule. It's about deliberately designing your day so that you have the capacity to do the things that matter, to pursue your purpose, to develop your potential, to practice self-mastery, and more importantly, to actually experience your life. Because if you spend your entire day depleted, distracted, and overstimulated, it becomes very difficult to fully engage with your life. So here's what I'd like you to do today. Don't try to redesign your entire life. Don't download another productivity app. Don't create another complicated morning routine. Just create one genuine recovery period. At some point today, put your phone away, step away from your screens, move your body, look into the distance, take a few slow breaths, and give yourself 10 minutes where you don't have to consume, respond, produce, or perform. Just recover. And then notice what happens when you return. Do you feel different? Is your mind clearer? Is your energy different? Are you more present? And tonight, ask yourself one more question. Did I actually recover today, or did I simply stop working? That question alone may change the way you think about your day. So in summary, if you've been feeling tired, even though you're getting enough sleep, don't automatically assume you need more rest. You may need better recovery. And more importantly, you may need to start deliberately designing your day around the way your mind and body actually works. Your life is happening today. Make sure you have enough capacity left to actually live it. This is exactly the kind of practical work we explore in our Mind Strong labs. Our labs aren't another big masterclass where I give you 50 things to learn. The idea is much simpler. Each month, for those who've taken a free Legend Life pledge and become part of our Legend Life Quester community, we take one practical Mind Strong capability, understand why it matters, learn how to use it, and then you practice it throughout the following month. Because this is what being Mind Strong is about. Not simply feeling better when things go wrong, but developing the mental fitness and self-regulation capacity to operate at your best more consistently. If this sounds like something you would like to make part of your life, head over to our website and take the Legend Life Pledge to receive an invite to our next Mind Strong Lab. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't as yet, and also to like this video and help us help more people learn how to become mind strong and live a legend life.